So let's talk about data or data. I guess it depends on who you ask.
Data.
It's really a hot topic in a lot of industries, and it's really it seems like when handled correctly, it can revolutionize an industry and the way that technology organizations are solving problems. So specifically, you touched on it. Why is data so important to industrial inspection and the inspection industry as a whole?
So data is a buzzword today, and it's both fortunate and unfortunate. Fortunate because data is truly the bedrock of all communications, if you will. After all, the cellular networks in the world would be completely useless if no one talked about this, right? Cell phones generating this data. However, I would say these networks would also be useless if they were flowed out of the cell phones were just ones and zeros. Which is after all the raw data and the flows through the networks, right? So the analogy really is critical because data is very important, but it is one part of the enables the technology, and the context is important, and being able to convert that data into insights and information is very, very important. And it is the bedrock, right? But I think just raw data by itself is not as valuable until you turn it into actionable insights. The ones and zeros flowing from the cell phone, from my daughter's hand to the cell tower through the satellites in the outer space, back to my cell tower to my cell phone, really becomes really meaningful only when the cell phone is able to convert its true information. When I hear "I love you, mom," and nothing, the ones and zeros cannot give me what this does. And I think similarly, that's the attitude we take with industrial inspection. Yes, there's data collected from all the Waygate Technologies inspections, or any inspections if you take from a competitor machine or MPI, wherever, third-party testing or so on and so forth. All this data is collected, connected. I think that's very important. Collected, connected, and then really correlated to associate it with the real asset that we're inspecting. And then providing this critical information and critical insights and actionable insights back to the customer to understand, if they have a failure or not, or how do they avoid their failure, right? And thought process around that. Data and the associate information that it can carry can truly create a paradigm shift for inspections. I would say there is one thing about inspections that our customers painfully realize: no matter how well we build our instruments, no matter how cutting edge our software is, or the inspections to our customers are like doctor's visits for us. The best doctor's visit is the one you don't have. So it's a necessary cost. But we also realize that the data and the information holds a transformative power. To realize our big dream for our customers, to take them from inspecting the assets today to fewer inspections tomorrow, to not having to inspect at all in the future. As we say, why detect a defect when you can avoid them altogether? And you see this in the healthcare industry too, where you can detect what's going to happen in the future, and people are treated for it today, so they don't end up having any bad things that need to happen in the future. And taking that as an inspiration, I think truly, if the data is leveraged, you can provide a solution that achieves a lot more for our customers.
That's great. So I have heard a lot about the digital suite Inspection Works, and especially how that is being driven by your organization. Can you expand on that a little bit and tell us what Inspection Works is and how it's utilized?
No, thank you for asking it. We are very proud of Inspection Works, to be honest, and we should be a bit partial too. As I said, we're trying, the whole ethos is how do you leverage data to really take your customer from having to do inspections to not at all. The key thought process around this is to convert the inspection from being a cost to true value. And Inspection Works is centered around providing our customers with a way to develop an inspection thread that runs through the entire product lifecycle. The lifecycle of any customer asset goes through three basic phases: design and engineering, manufacturing, and operations, and then eventually services, which is a whole new world. Today, via the PLM systems and digital tools, the customer has an equivalent virtual ecosystem, often referred to as a digital twin. And you probably heard this multiple times, right? What InspectionWorks will provide to this digital twin at each point of the life cycle is a connection to the inspections and the data coming out of these inspections. So, if you will, InspectionWorks will be the inspection-centric digital triplet to the digital twin. Inspections are typically focused around the last two steps in the product lifecycle, but the data and insights gained from the inspections can always be fed back to the design phase to allow the customer to drive multi-generational value. Thus, defects coming out of a production and operations phase of today's assets or even services will allow the customer to design a less defect-prone asset tomorrow. So, if you will, every time there is a production, it is a better product than it would be before, right? And it's not science fiction. It is possible with InspectionWorks. And that is how InspectionWorks will take our customers from detecting defects to avoiding them altogether. We use a very simple approach to this, right? One is really acquiring, analyzing, and then acting on the data. So when you think about acquire, we acquire inspection and sensor data, which is really achieved through firstly connecting the inspection and the sensor devices together. This really enables all of this data to be seamlessly collected. In return, it also enables a whole host of added empower software upgrades, user trainings, remote assistance from experts right on the device. So I think that's really what the whole acquire phase brings through. In terms of when we analyze, which is a second phase, the idea here is to provide complete contextual data management through the harmonized interface. Subsequently, to leverage the data to drive insights. And we use artificial intelligence, machine learning, data fusion concepts to really ensure that we provide high value returns to the customer by driving true insights from these inspections. And finally, the last step is really the act, where we utilize all these previous steps to truly drive innovations through the entire part lifecycle, from one generation to the next, enabling virtual feedback loops using inspection and sensor insights to leverage multi-generational value for the customer by delivering actionable insights to the PLM or their ERP system, or eventually directly to the inspection or the process step itself.
Sounds like an exciting project
It is
that you're
fantastic.
certainly passionate about. Yeah.
It is fantastic, and I think a lot of people, when I talk to a lot of customers, they think about it like a science fiction, and I keep telling them it's not. I mean, we can do it today, and imagine a culture where you didn't have to test anything, and today you have to inspect a lot. And some in aerospace and some of the other industries, it's compulsory to inspect 100% or even more, right?
Sure.
Thrice in different steps. Just having this really helps.